This is a TTRPG adventure. Look at that. Look at that. What the hell's going on here? We got a robot. We got the daily. We got locations. We got monsters. We got creatures. We got places. We got little secrets. Little secrets. Who's in there, huh? Who the heck is there? What can you do here? I want to know what you can do there. I want to go there with someone. I want to go there with a character. I want to have a character that goes to that place and sits down with someone and has a talk. Oh my goodness. There's a fucking pirates. There's pirates in this setting. There's a fucking kaiju. I can't get over the fucking kaiju. Look at that. This is a TTRPG adventure. Do you believe me? You don't believe me? Watch this. What do you need to adventure somewhere, huh? What do you need? You need locations? You need something that inspires you, huh? That's what an adventure is. We know what adventures are. Right, folks? We know what adventures are? Okay, let's see. We got a setting, right? Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, so if this is a setting, we could map it out, right? We could read it literally, okay? We could read it literally. It could be circular. So we're sitting one place and like the camera's rotating around. So the buildings are in a circle around us, and then there's a bay in a circle, like a circular moat almost. And then there's a bunch of like city behind it, also circular. Kind of giving me Planescape vibes, right? One second, I'm gonna turn this to, shit, no, I shouldn't do this. Okay. It's just so clear to me. I've been staring at this for like weeks. If I were gonna run this though, I'd have one rule. These are not movie references. Do not make the movie references. That is not literally Godzilla. This is not literally Spider-Man. That is not literally the Emerald City. That is not literally Alcatraz. You could run it that way. Like, no corporation can see your game, so it could be. You could do anything you want with Spider-Man because you're making art at your table and no corporation can see it. So you can do whatever you want with Spider-Man. You can. But also, like, I went to FanX last year, which was like Salt Lake City Comic Con basically until the lawsuit. We don't talk about that. And all of the stuff there was just like corpo fan art. Like there was like President Thanos. I'm like, fuck off. It is so tacky, you know, except for about the one thing that wasn't. I stand Yuzu Fever, shop Yuzu Fever. I'm not sponsored, shop there, okay? Because that wasn't corpo. And that's what I mean, right? It's tacky, that is not tacky. I like the bag, we can make up our own stuff right here, okay? We see that person swinging? If that's not Spider-Man, who is it? You know, my idea was that it's like a silk dancer, you know, like one of those performers, and they're like swinging around at like skyscraper height, and there's like a hyper expensive cocktail party happening in there. Like, that sounds awesome to me. I want to meet that person. I want to go up there and swing next to them. They're probably lonely. It's freaking cool now, right? It's not Spider-Man, it's something else. I would not want any of this to be those things. If we're gonna run it, there's no NPC descriptions, so I'd probably like number each of the buildings so I could use it like a roll table. Like, this person's from the barber shop. You guys are in the restaurant. The barber's in the restaurant doing something there based on the situation that's happening, right? You wouldn't even have to write anything, just like write numbers, right? You could key the locations though. You could do other stuff. I could run this. You know how I know I could run this? You know how I know this is a TTRPG adventure? Because this is also a TTRPG adventure. I've run this. I don't know what it means to have run this, but I've run it. I used like the eye motif with another adventure, and I put this location at the end of adventure, and I ran it. I think it counts. I think I ran this. I don't know what that means. No one knows what that means, okay? That's fine. I used it as inspiration. That's what it means. Look at these images. This reminds me of like Castle in the Sky. This reminds me of the way that water works in Minecraft. Like, I'd let a player swim up that just because that's how it works in my brain, right? This reminds me of Perito Street Station. I've got like the Thief the Dark project building here. I didn't make this. This is really good. It's in Dissident Whispers, RPG for BLM. Check it out on Tuesday Night Games. I think it's still there. Like, look at that. We got locations. They're spatially arranged. We've got a bestiary, like this thing and these things, whatever they are. The images are inspiring, and there's nothing we have to pretend that we don't see, right? There's no Spider-Man here, which means there are no wrong answers. These could be anything we want. As Chris Bissett has said, these were catalysts for play, right? I saw these images, and they sparked something in my head that I was able to use at the table, okay? And I've just got so many questions about this, like, are these bats? Is it one big giant cavern? Are the clouds bats? Are there literal clouds of bats? Is this like is this supposed to be here? Is it alive? Is it terrorizing, or is it just like something that's just there that you can visit and talk to maybe? I don't know. There are no wrong answers, and I think that's what I love about it. I think that's what's drawn me back again and again. This reminds me of the Infinity Demon from Chainsaw Man, Infinity Devil. You also have to trust me, I'm doing no graphics for this video. But you know what? This stuff still doesn't have any words. There's still no words here, okay? Since there are no words, oh no, God, you can see. What's happening? I don't know what this pyramid is at the top of this other building. I don't know what this maze is. I don't know who any of these things are. I don't have any words. I don't have anything for here to go off of, except for the images. And you know what? The images are actually enough. I think you could do this. I think it's possible. But you could also add words. You can do that. Okay? TTRPGs lean a lot on art, I know, but you can also write words. So what words would be useful to write here? Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, look, images. Look at this place. This is a TTRPG adventure. I should take better care of my phone. This is a TTRPG adventure, and it comes with words. At the bottom of this page, there's a bunch of words that name these locations, okay? We've got the sewer labyrinth, the public city baths, the old watchtower. Like, the word to inspiration density here is exactly what I'm looking for. Like, for example, Theater of Scorpion Eaters, okay? You see this green building here? I would not have thought up Theater of Scorpion Eaters. So those 4 words give me exactly as much information and inspiration as I would expect from those 4 words. And they give me something I wouldn't have had otherwise. This is good. This is really great. This is by Games Omnivorous, by the way. It's called the Undying Sands. It is actually a TTRPG adventure. That's the city. Let's look at what else it has. One sec, I'm gonna bring the thing back up here. We're gonna bring my phone back. Okay, here we go. So we got names for buildings. The underlined ones are faction headquarters. So we have factions. We also have what they are, what they're about, and 6 jobs you can do for each of them. All of these. I love that. That is exactly what I need for when I'm running a city. Who's here? What do they want? Where are they in the city? I love how it's all spatially arranged as well, right? It is important when you're going throughout a city where things are in relation to each other, right? And the hexes have the same quality that the city does, okay? I'm not all for just like mindlessly randomizing everything for the sake of randomization. I don't think that's good. But look at this. Each hex has 3 locations. So let's see. This one has the floating flea fair, the strange earthenworks, and the black light monolith, okay? They're all arranged next to each other. So instead of randomizing every single location in the entire sands, you can do cool things like this hex, which I'll talk about in a minute. Like I said though, I'm not all for randomization for everything, but they do, it's the gimmick, it's the format, it's the DM screen plus the hexes, so I can forgive it for the gimmick. Speaking of the format though, there are not a lot of words here for how much is here. So each of those words better be really darn good. And for the most part, they are. I love the snorting ants. Notoriously, I love the snorting ants. I love the explosive caltrops. Where are those? Over here, loot the body, explosive caltrops. I love all the robot types. Where are they? Robot types? Servant, soldier, entertainer, acolyte. That's kind of fun. That's enough. I love the location names. I love a lot of this stuff. On the other hand, I wish there were more than 5 spells. We've got move sand, raise camels, robot song, rinse water, and where is it? Invoke great worm. It's nice, but I wish there were more. I wish there were more spells. I wish the encounter descriptions had interesting details rather than just difficulty levels. Like, where is it? Glowing hyenas, hungry and radioactive is a lot better than big carrion eater, big and undead. Where is it? This dinosaur is a dinosaur. This waste mandrill has brutal bites, right? It's not doing as much, even with 2 words, right? I'm like, I'd rather they were different words. And I'm being really picky here. I'm a really opinionated person, okay? Okay? All y'all out there? But this is who I am deep down inside. So this is what you get. I also wish there was room for more customized treasure tables. Like, where is it? Right here. No, it's in Loot the Body. A map or key likely to an important place, right? It's vague on purpose. It has to be vague. It's by necessity, but it's not a virtue that it's vague, right? You can find it at any time, multiple times, which means it's gonna be vague. But I wish it weren't. I don't like vague stuff. I like really specific stuff, okay? Likewise, where is it? This hex, we're gonna talk about it. Hex 3. The dual ends, improvise a comedy of errors situation. That sounds nice. I do want a comedy of errors. I wish you hadn't even said it though. spelling it out like this deflates what was otherwise a great like location key. Like, read this. The dual inns flank the eye. One serves the undead, the other the living. In it, 5 characters with 5 agendas compete for fool's gold. A mage, a foreign thief, a merchant, a retired scavenger, and a ghost in disguise. Like, at that point, I'm like, okay, I wish there were like NPC descriptions also. Like, improvised comedy of error situation is giving you it's telling you what story to tell here. And I'm not looking for that kind of inspiration. Without that, it was better, which is weird. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. That I have no problems with it, but it is eminently runnable. It is totally runnable. And there's room and time for iteration. So what innovations might we expect from Games Omnivorous in the future? Oh, wait, I'm wearing a different shirt, which means that's a rhetorical question. The Bottled Sea is Games Omnivorous's second and most recent of their like cardboard hexes GM screen format thing that they did. And this is claiming to be more than a Roku screensaver, right? And I believe it. I think it is more than a Roku screensaver. But I want to look really closely, it's like a little too closely, to figure out what it's doing and what I like and what I don't like about it. Because I think it's really interesting to look at something that's so minimal. And because I'm going to do that, I want to say a couple things about Games Omnivorous. I want to state my biases. Is that what it is? I want to state like I want to do a little disclaimer. I don't know. Games Omnivorous has sent me stuff in the past. They sent me a review copy of 17th Century Minimalist, and I reviewed it on this YouTube channel. They also sent me, following that review, a gift. Yeah, they messaged me after my review. They said some very, very flattering things about my video. They said, "I think you're the person who best understood the game so far," which I thought was very, very nice. And then they sent me a copy of The Insectiary as a gift. I didn't review that. Haven't reviewed anything there since until now, where I'm going to do this. I have also, this is important, I've also asked if I could edit some of their stuff, and they have not hired me yet. And I'm going to say, I'm not looking to get hired by them in the future. I'm changing my mind. I would rather talk about this as honestly as possible outside of the context of being an editor than I would work on one of their projects, even though their books are all really pretty and they sell out constantly. So that's fun. That's what I do. What about the things I do to be a reviewer? Let's see, I'm going to get... Okay, so here we have the Bottled Sea. The Bottled Sea comes with a bunch of auxiliary pieces and bits and bobs, all this cool Kickstarter stuff that I don't give a shit about. The first thing I want to talk about is not actually the GM screen, it's this little thing called Watercrafts. As with all of the art in this, the art is amazing. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Look at that one. Art's 10 out of 10. Like I said before, it's one of the easiest things to talk about in a tabletop role-playing game, is the art, because we just have to look at it. This one's probably my favorite. It's just so good. Reminds me of Howl's Moving Castle. Like, specifically, the castle. Very cool, okay? I love how the boats are small on the page, and then so the big boats are big on the page. I like the system info. They've all got periods after them. They're not sentences, they don't need periods. I love the names, Rubbish Raft, Hydro Cage, Salvage Trawler. I like that they're on a roll table, and I like that it's not weighted, so that you can encounter even the rare ones with equal frequency as the others. Oh, and price free, just makes it feel like being marooned somewhere would be no problem, and I like that feeling. I like that they communicated that without really saying it. But yeah, nice booklet. But wait a second, did we even really talk about it? We didn't really talk about those words. Let's look at those words, okay? Hydro cage, first sentence, like a giant hamster wheel or an old shark cage. Both of those are great details. The last sentence is here, the most common form of travel in the Bottled Sea. Labor intensive to operate, therefore unpopular. Most reliable, common among professional seafarers. Rare enough that individual vessels are widely known by their name. Look at that, that's a great detail. Oh, and here's one, this is probably the best one. Only one functional model is known to exist currently in the possession of the collectors, right? That is my favorite detail in this whole book, probably. Oh, wait, I need to talk about number 8. Before we go to bad things, unusual vessels made out of repurposed jet skis or motorbikes, hard to use and harder to steer, requires a tamed dolphin to move. An attempt was made once with orcas, which ended violently. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. We're going to talk about the bad stuff now. Okay. So here's the thing I'm talking about earlier, right? Where you have so few words, so I want each word to be doing something different. It says expensive due to their design, but a worthy investment. Price, expensive, speed, fast. We already knew that info. Saying expensive here and expensive here is just double dipping. It's a tiny detail. Like I said, I'm being a little too nitpicky here, and I'm going to keep doing it. Same thing here, floats by way of buoyant bladders. That's actually something that that's work the art is already doing for us. So I'm like, but nothing's worse than number 6, okay? Number 6 is the worst offender. It has so much repeated info. Watch this. A ramshackle houseboat, so ramshackle, built out of the remains of other ships, homes, and any trash that will keep the wet out. An assemblage of the old and newly found. Size is variable. We already saw that here too. Size depends on size, depends on size. Depending on how many are housed within. Difficult to maneuver, but safe and sturdy enough to live in. It's like, I already saw that price is cheap, ramshackle, made of ships, homes, and trash, assemblage of old and new. I can see that by looking at the art, and then it repeats it 3 times, right? You don't need to do that. You can just put fewer words in, and I will actually be okay with fewer words, which is interesting. Okay. I want to talk about this. This is what I'm here to talk about. And we're going to start here with this first page. I'm going to try something. One second. You know what? We're taking risks. We're here on YouTube. We're taking risks with the format, okay? Saran wrap. What could go wrong? What's the worst that could happen? Panel 1. I'm gonna spoil it already and say that panel 1 is the worst panel of the whole DM screen. There are only 3 panels, so like that's saying something here. We're saying something about how many words we're talking about when we say 1 panel. We're talking about 1/3 of the words. What is this? This whole section is ad copy, okay? It's a minimalist, system-agnostic RPG setting. It may be played as a self-contained hex crawler on the back of an existing campaign. It's an alternate dimension where sailors are sucked from across history in, well, actually, no, here's I want to focus on this wording. Where ships and sailors from across history are sucked inadvertently into. That's just, I don't know about that wording. It's ad copy. It's like the back of the book, right? That's fine. It's fine. I don't care much about it. It's tolerable. How to use it. This stuff totally works. I followed the instructions step by step. Each hex takes 2 days to navigate. Fast vessels take only a day. Slow ones take 3. I'm glad that detail is here, but also on the back of the Watercrafts book, right? That's good. I'm not going to touch it. That's good. That's some repeated info that I want to bring attention to, because I'm going to be talking a lot about repeated info that I don't like. That's an example of some that I do like, okay? My favorite thing here is number 7. If no hexes are left to pull from the bag, traveling past the edge of one side brings the party to the hex furthest away from their previous location. The bottled sea is round. Isn't that cute? I like that. Plug it into your campaign is next. This is my least favorite section on the whole panel, okay? This sucks. I'm sorry to say. It repeats info 5 times. Okay, watch this. In a certain part of the sea, any sea of your campaign world, I don't even need to know that, ships disappear under inexplicable circumstances. Victims vanish as if they never were. Okay, so they disappear, they vanish. Rumors have it that they are flushed into an unknown dimension, swallowed into the belly of a transdimensional beast. Once they occur, they find themselves trapped. Okay? I don't care. Stop it. You can say it once, and also, sailors from history are sucked inadvertently into. Bro, bringing that back, that's the 6th time on this one panel. There's also this bit that I'll talk about in a minute. Either plunge yourself down into the mythical whirlpool or find the fabled solid ground to find your way out. This is important. I'm going to talk about that later. Best practices, these are fine. I didn't really take notes on this. They're fine. They're basically copy pasted from Undying Sands. Or actually, I think they are, like word for word, except for it's a big ocean and the uncaring tides of an endless ocean. Anyway, that's little. We're going to talk about myths next. Myths next. Myths. I lied about this being my least favorite part. Myths are way worse, for a specific reason. I'm sorry. I know I'm being critical and I'm being really, really picky, okay? 1, 4, 9, and 10 are all about solid ground. And that becomes a problem that you'll see in a minute here, okay? Solid ground materializes once every 100 years. Check. That is a myth. Watch this. Find the mythical whirlpool and you can leave the sea. I thought that was the detail from right here. And also that same detail was actually right here in number 8 and I didn't even talk about it. That's 3 times on one panel. They're talking about going down to the mythical whirlpool, and it's not the last time on this same exact panel. 7, machinery defying space and time are drowned deep beneath the sea. This is just saying, there's a salvage table. I already knew that. That's not a myth. 6 is being repeated. 3, things from before and what come next fall from the sky sent by gods. The only new piece of information here is sent by gods. They don't really expand upon it elsewhere. It's self-evident because the way you came into here is by being sent into here. Through the sky, right? You fell through from the sky. 2, though there's night and day, time does not pass in the bottled sea. That's setting info. It's not a myth. Locked in a timeless state. Okay, that's what this says right here. That's the same detail there and here. To find solid ground, piece together the map, and the only fabled monks of the Church of Buoyancy will be able to decipher the map. So I don't like that it does that so many times. Okay, I don't think this one's good. Find solid ground, piece together the map, and only the monks can piece together the map. Okay, that's kind of dumb. Eating the egg will reveal the route to solid ground. That's a myth because it's actually false. It's not fun, okay? Even though it's the same thing as this one. I don't know, maybe that one's true. It's kind of not, though, because you have to find the map. Oh, and number 8 is just like, it's not a myth either. There's literally a hexahedron, and you can like hear about it, and like the shepherds know about it, and they want to go there, okay? So I don't like number 8 either. So the only one that I really like is the world will end when the last bonsai dies. That's the one, number 5. You win. You are the best myth. I do not like this myths table. I don't like it. It's not even, most of them aren't myths, okay? And the reason I went so hard on this tiny section here is because of how many times it comes up elsewhere in this board, okay? Cool thing here. This
table is actually divided. So these 10 are common loot, or common salvage, okay? Let's talk about these. This is actually 40. There are 40, not actually 10, because each one, actually no, wait, let's see, 4 times 9 is 36, 37. Okay, so 37, that's what I meant to say. That's what I get for using a Sharpie. Okay, there's 37 bits of salvage here because the first one is crabs. It's a nat 1, you roll crabs, not 20, you get half of the map that leads to solid ground. So these are more vague than these 10 by design because they're meant to come up over and over again, they're meant to be common, you can get them more easily than you can get these 10 unique items. I think they work. The bit that will make them special is where they come out, which hex you're exploring, and all those other good details. Not as much the fact that you find old batteries or love letters, right? That's just kind of going to be our little prompt that we can use multiple times in multiple contexts, right? Down here, these 10 are meant to be less that way. And I like one more thing, I like these. These are cute. And especially, actually, this one is super special. I know it's a 1 in 37 chance. But fertile soil, that's super valuable. Let's talk about these unique ones then. 11, ancient Viking longsword etched with runic enchantments. Runic is not the adjective that I want there. I want to know what kind of, I don't know what the enchantments do. That would be a better adjective there. Like I said, extremely picky. I'm picking up one word. Number 13 sucks because it talks about the myths. A gold foil tablet depicting a myth. I don't care about that. Possibly cursed. That's funny. I like that. I don't even know what the fucking myths. I think my favorite one here by far, like they're all really fun. The automated circular vacuum cleaner needs batteries, okay? I can imagine finding old batteries like I talked about here. Oh my God, now we can put them in our Roomba. Roomba. And it's possible to roll this more than once. I can only imagine having 2 Roombas. Like rolling 14 again and getting a second Roomba, that'd be an incredible moment. Now, number 20, we're going to talk about this now. Old bottle containing the left half of the encoded map to solid ground. The map is split in 2. The left half can be found through salvage, the right half by exploring the hexes. It's also possible to obtain the missing half via fishing or diving or random encounters. If the same half would reappear again, just one or the other, would appear again, ignore it. Okay, there's something really interesting here, because the hexahedron, this dungeon, in order to get into this dungeon, you have to, it's in a hex in the world. You have to get 3 cubes. The 3 cubes are in specific places in the world, okay? The map does not do that. The map can come up over and over again in a lot of places, but these 3 cubes are always in the same 3 places, which is really, I like this method a lot better than the map method. I understand why, and you can actually build it into the lore because the map is scattered once it's used, like it rips itself in half and throws itself into the ocean again. So you can find an in-narrative justification for the map being everywhere, but I gotta say I do like them being in specific locations rather than it being randomized. Now, even though I was ragging on it on the myths table, the fact that where are they? Oh yeah, here we go, yeah. The solid ground, the map tears itself in half and is placed inside bottles and set off in floating endlessly. I like that. Now I was ragging on it on the myths table, but only the monks at the Church of Buoyancy can decode the maps, the map halves. I do like that, because I like having interconnected areas, right? It does this a couple times, and this is one of the ways that I do like, where they're like, okay, only these people can figure it out, which is kind of fun. I also like how they tell you to do the board game thing, place the hex face down, and then once the players go, turn it face up. That's cute. That's cute. I like it. Whatever. You're messing with your format. I like it. Encounter table. I have thoughts about this encounter table. So here's the thing. On one of the next panels, you'll see there are a bunch of factions in this place right here. There's the collectors, the ichthies or ichthies, and the shepherds, and there's also one more, the rainmakers. They are not on the encounter table, and I'm kind of fine with that because it makes them special to the city. They're only at the city. All of these are really nice, and I think they kind of solved a problem that I didn't really like what was going on in Undying Sands as much. So we can see here, collectors are en route to the machine or returning to the harborage. That's nice. I like that. It tells you that it's like a cycle. They go to one place and then go to the other place, and they go back and forth. Ichthies deep diving or fleeing at another encounter, and then you roll that other encounter. That's nice. The shepherds carrying stolen sheep, like they're doing things, right? And also, the thing that I was talking about them fixing is when you look at these parentheticals from numbers 9 through 20, because I like 1 through 8, but when you look at 9 through 20, a lot of them are talking about things they do and attitudes they have, which I like a lot better than listing just the attacks they have, which we'll see elsewhere. So let's check this out. Mugger crabs will invade your watercraft to eat and steal rations. I used this in a game. These ones tusks ground out magic. And I don't know if that means that if you grind their tusks, the powder is anti-magic, or they're like grounding to magic, so they like attract magic, or what. It's a little vague. But I know how I would use it. I'd use it for multiple of those things at once. You could grind it for powder, or you could, maybe it negates it. But it's kind of cool if it like attracted it, because then it could get healing magic if that's something that's in your game. The thing I don't like is, where is it? Spits jets of water into boats until given rations. This is a scene. It's like, oh, they show up and you have to give them rations. It's really interesting. It tells you the problem and then it tells you how to solve it. I'm not looking for both of those things from a book. I want you to give me a problem and then let the players solve it. So it's a very specific complaint as usual, but that's how I feel about it. Oh, and of course, the great 20-tentacled cephalopod, nearly unkillable. Good luck. Cute as usual. I have rolled that. I've run this. I've run the Bottled Sea, and I rolled the great 20-tentacled cephalopod. It was great. I'll talk about it later. Okay, weather. So I have the same problem here with the scene stuff on the weather table. Okay, there's a lot of stuff here that I'm not looking for from a weather table. Okay. So we can see right here, it says, when facing hazards 1 through 5, roll an appropriate save or suffer the consequences. Once again, it's a divided table. The first 5 are different than the second 5. So like, oh no, save or be struck by lightning, save or get hurt, save or your rations go away, save or you lose 1d6 items, save or you have to take an irrational action. It keeps going actually. So doldrums, you can't move for 1d3 days. I like this one. Number 6 is actually a good one. I like number 6. Strange tides. You're moved in a direction. The hex has changed. The hex has changed. The hex has changed. Right. This is them messing with the format. I don't mind it on the weather table. Oh, and of course, the hexes change. My favorite thing about number 10, just briefly, is right here. Where is it? Oh yeah. So it says place hex 10 on an adjacent hex, and if there's no adjacent hex, then basically it says remove a random adjacent hex from play. But what that means is like the whirlpool eats that hex. So if it's like a hex where there's buildings and stuff, then I guess it's gone until you draw it from the bag again. Where was I? Weather. Okay, doldrums. I like doldrums. I don't like numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm a big fan of those, but my favorite is 5. Blazing sun. Character takes 1 irrational action due to heat exhaustion. Okay, I love number 5. It reminds me in a bad way of the Dungeons and Dragons confusion spell, where it's like, oh no, you attack someone, which is basically what these are doing, right? And so I think number 5 is doing that same thing, where it's like, oh, do something irrational. But that prompt is open-ended enough that I can imagine my table using it in a really creative way, however they want, right? I don't know how they would use it, and that's what makes it cool. And also, the name Blazing Sun. This is a weather event that people in the world can be aware of. Right? They can be like, oh no, it's a blazing sun, stay indoors or something. Which is really fun. That is by far my favorite one. Blazing Sun, best weather event. Mythical Whirlpool. A swirling anomaly that casts mariners into strange places. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same fucking idea that's been on the page 3 times already. It's just, this is one panel. Stop repeating yourself, please. Your words are so valuable. You have so few of them. Stop fucking repeating yourself. I like the Undying Sands connection. That's really cute. Good job, Games Omnivorous. I love that, actually. And I think that's it for this panel. Okay, check this out. Panel number 2. You can't even see that, can you? All right. I've got notes on panel number 2. These are the hex fills, which means it's time to get these hexes up here. Hexes A and B. Oh, these are cute. Look at these. There's the whirlpool. And there's solid ground. Spoilers for Bottled Sea. Of course, as usual, the art is amazing. We're not really talking about the art as much in this video because we are focusing on other things. And those other things are hex number 1. Okay, I actually took notes on all these hexes. We're just going to try to go through them really fast just because I don't want to do this for an hour. Abandoned Arbitorium, now the nest of Beelzebufo, high level, giant sticky tongue. That is an attack. It's telling us that Beelzebufo has a giant sticky tongue. That is not the detail I'm looking for. It doesn't actually say anything else about Beelzebufo. Look at this guy. Looks like a giant axolotl, okay? I want to know more. Choose or roll endemic Florida. I would just have all 6 of them, all 4 of them here. And also use the planetary for additional inspiration. I don't know if that, it's just incorporating the product line. Pink miasmic fog, whisper a myth. I don't give a fuck about the myths. Okay, and also second thing, the fog is outside of the hex, right? which means these two need to be swapped. When we're describing locations, which is a big part of tabletop role-playing game adventures, we need to describe them from the outside in, right? That's why we do dungeon levels from the top to the bottom. Same thing here. You got to do the outside first. This is actually not the only time it happens. The Bountiful Sargasso in Hex 9 is outside the hives. I know that it's the primary location, so I know why they did it, but in my adventure preferences, I prefer to go from the outside in. Okay, so even though it's not the primary one, I'd switch them around. Hex number 2, the alabaster fingers. That's cool. There's something carved here in the form of a pictogram, but you determine what is carved here randomly, and also that thing is a myth. And I fucking hate the myths, so stay away. I like that this adjective here, feisty. The eggs of the feisty birds are a rare delicacy, but climbing is dangerous. That's nice. I love that you can ask this guy the precise whereabouts of a location, and then you place that location on the map. And he also tells you myths, and I don't give a shit about myths. The myths suck. Sorry. Just gonna go through a couple things real quick. Number 3, this is the first of the place that has a mini cube. This has a mini cube. Number 4 has a mini cube right here inside the whale. And number 10, there's a mini cube in the floating slums, right? 1, 2, 3. I love those. The mini cubes are good. I like that they're in specific locations because then you can do like rumors and stuff. You can build it into the world in a way that, anyway, I just like it better than randomly determining it. For the sake of going fast, 6, 11, and 13 are basically perfect. They get a gold star. Okay, all 3 of these. I'm not even really going to talk about them because these 3 are already so good. Okay, calling the manta rays a battalion is really cute. If you observe their behavior, then they'll tell you the encounter's coming. That's cool. I like that you have to use the lunar octant when the stars are out. In here, like I said, these 2, I'd switch them, and they have a fucking myth. If you eat honey, then you might see a myth. Hex 11, here we go. The floating hexahedron. It's where you put the stuff in. It's the dungeon from the other thing, which is part of why I like it, because it's especially specific. Oh, please stop shaking. I don't want to give my viewers motion sickness. The reason this is so good, there's a sealed cube, there's livestock, and guess who wants livestock? The shepherds. They're on screen, but we're talking about them later. The other reason number 11 is so good is because of number 3. Number 3 is a glacier, and when I played this, I put the glacier and the floating hexahedron, they were adjacent to each other, which suddenly added meaning to the hexes. Like, because of the random placement, I got more out of it. Because here, there are boiling waters, and guess what? The iceberg is here in this endless ocean world. That sounds like a problem, because this is a great source of fresh water, and if it melts, because it's next to the floating hexahedron, so suddenly there was like this whole possible storyline of the people that wanted to like haul the floating hexahedron to a different place. It was suddenly like you could team up with them, and that'd be really good and actually really important. Like, everyone could rally behind that idea, and that's really cool. So that's an example of the random placement of the hexes being really valuable. Here's that one. You can even see it boiling. Number 4, I'm going to talk a lot about randomizing things. I'm fine randomizing wares because it's what they have available for the day. It like makes sense. They also have myths, but fuck myths. See how many times myths are incorporated into this stuff? Like, it's bad because it is here so often. If the roll table was bad, that'd be that, but it's bad, and also they reincorporate it, and I get the impulse to reincorporate it. We'll talk about that later in the video, but yeah, anyway. The Leviathan feels more like a scene, once again. Scene. Salvage and a mini cube can be found in the Leviathan's guts, but there's a 1 in 6 chance each round it explodes for some reason. It just feels kind of arbitrary. It's not a detail that I'm a huge fan of. There we go. Look at that guy. So sad. Number 5. I like the machine. The machine's good. It's digging up dirt. The crab jumble is weird because there's a 1 in 6 chance you roll a d3 and get 3d20 crab pinches. There's just a lot of rolling to like figure out if and how much salvage and how many crab pinches you get. It just feels, it's a little goofy. It's just like roll, as opposed to like giving me more useful info about the crab pile. It's just like roll this and roll this and roll this. It's not the detail I'm looking for there either. 6 is perfect. What else is there to say? There's some junk men that want engines. It tells you what they want. That's awesome. What they'll trade for, and then what they have available to trade with. Bloodsport arena. Here's a great roll table here, because when you pick one, you choose your weapon, right? Boomerang, spear gun, harpoon, whalebone saw, shark tooth machete, barbed fish net. The thing I love about this is whatever you pick, I imagine, like if I was running it, I didn't run this one, you'd have your opponents have all the other things you didn't pick, which is awesome. Okay, jar of dirt, funny. It's valuable, very valuable in this setting, but also funny. Pirates of the Caribbean reference. Number 7. The building is great, built from refuse, like everything in the setting is built from refuse. It's ruled by a gang of dolphin riders. They're looking for mercs to raid the harborage, which actually later we'll see they can actually do. On the event table over there, which is one of my favorite events. We'll talk about that in a second. Plastic agglomerate is a little weird. It's saying, oh, it's made of rocks and bottles and plastics and molten fishing nets. I don't know if molten is the word there. And fossilized food cans, so saying it's trash, 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 and trash. It towers up through the clouds. A pair of ichthyes are currently scouring for loot. I love this because here you just roll an encounter, which is fine. But here we see there are ichthyes that are scouring for loot, holding salvage, but they're not alone. Roll an encounter for what else is plundering the heap. I really like that, except, guess what? The encounters are not good for that at all. Like, these are creatures. Most of them are creatures. And you can't even roll like a d8 up to like the ghost watercraft, or like a d7 up to like, are there merchants? Are there ghosts here raiding it? I actually kind of like that. There could definitely be ghosts. But I don't know if there would be carpenter fish or anglerfish or hydrozoa raiding this. And there definitely wouldn't be wild dolphins raiding it, right? So I can't really roll a lower number. It feels like it doesn't fit as much. And I get, like, once again, I get the impulse to make your thing interconnected, but I don't know if it's doing the things. Hex 8. Why do you roll 1d6 monks? Just tell me how many there are. This is good. They're copying as many books, parchments, and scrolls as possible. Will pay handsomely for more. Tells you what they want. I love it. Only they can decipher the encoded map to solid ground. I love it. Very good. I actually had this in a game once. I'll tell you about it in a second as well. There's a bit of passive voice. Piercing through the waters is the protruding forest. It's fine. And if I'm going to talk about passive voice, then I have to talk about one other thing, which is the punctuation. Every piece of punctuation after a bolded word is also bolded. Every single one in the whole thing, which is awesome. That is such a common error, and it is not here. Okay, look at this. Bold, 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 bold. They're all fucking bold, which is awesome. That's how they're supposed to be. They're all consistent with the whole thing. Incredible. Thank you, proofreaders. Bountiful Sargasso, we already talked about swapping those. Roll an encounter. This is the right place for an encounter roll because you're floating on the water. So if dolphins or ghosts or whoever else come up as you're taking double time to cross this hex, then it makes sense for them to be there. The hives, we talk about a myth. There's an 80% chance of a bad trip, 20% chance of a prophetic vision. Roll a myth. I don't care about the myths. Hex 10. Okay, so I ran, this is one of the hexes that featured most in the game that I played, okay? The character arrived here from the sky and hung out and did a little bit of diving. I rolled encounters, and the encounter that I rolled was the 20-tentacled cephalopod. And so there was like this whole event where it was very early on in the game, so they basically, I didn't want to kill the character even though we weren't going to be playing for very long. That's just how I like to play. And so I said the cephalopod was actually coming to not like purposefully destroy and kill everyone or anything. It was coming to itch its back, like scratch its back on the coral reef, which was not only extremely cute, it also set the stakes a little lower. It was just to escape, not to, like it says, nearly unkillable good luck, because what they're saying good luck is good luck killing it. But in this case, it was good luck escaping even, which was nice. It was a trifling junk atoll, which made me feel not bad at all about completely destroying it. There's a landseeker sect who worshipped sand and dirt, and so I had them have like brown robes with tan undershirts, which was very funny later on when they went here. This is the hex they escaped to, and I had the landseeker sect from this hex. I think that's what they're called here. So they're thinking about the possibilities of dry land, and here there's a landseeker sect, and so I had these guys have brown robes with tan shirts underneath, and these guys have tan robes with brown shirts underneath. And it was a hilarious, like the person I was playing with just cracked up. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that I like. It's a useful detail. So like, as much as I'm pulling this apart, it is really playable. Okay. And that's what I think is important to look at here is, cause I'm creating, like I'm analyzing the veracity of these story prompts, these creative prompts, because I think that in some places the prompts could be better, in other places the prompts are really good, and these are the prompts that I used here, as I was saying. The mini cube that's here, I use this a lot. It became a thing like the Landseeker sect was trying to get their mini cube and their dirt off of the what's it called, the junk atoll, which established really early on that dirt is really important and that there are mini cubes and that they're important to these people. And so like instantly, there's just so much of the setting, not only setting info, but also the locations in the setting that are set up really early on just by like the little things in here. I think this has become, because it starred in my early game, this has become one of my favorite hexes. Number 10. We already kind of talked about hex number 11. It's cool. There's the dungeon, and then there's the boiling waters. There's people here finding rare volcanic stones, which tells you they're valuable. There you go, more info. Number 12, a seahorse breeding port. I love that there are exotic, like very valuable cold preserved broods of seahorses. That's a very cool treasure. But once again, the unctuous gastropod with a slimy clutch, those words are doing the same job. It's telling you it's slimy. I need different details about this snail. I want to know what it does, how it feels, what it wants, what it's doing. And slimy does not do it for me. Oh, there's also the kelp garden, which is fun. Kelp is used as both food and textiles. That's really nice. And twin horticulturists maintain the site and sell these wares. Twins, as opposed to 1d6 monks. This is bad. This is good. Hex number 13. Lunar Octant. We already talked about that. That's very good. Look at that cool art. Yeah, on screen. We love showing art. Hex number 14. Wreck of the Cyclops. Derelict tanker, impossible to fix or operate unless you're creative and have ample time. Within a group of castaways with a tank of... Okay, this is a weird sentence. Within a group of castaways and a tank loaded with refined oil which will make a motor or engine work, but only the collectors will understand how to properly use after 1d6 weeks of thorough investigation. It's just a little bit of a run-on sentence. That makes me sad. The deep blue hole is really good. Allegedly the lair of the 20-tentacled cephalopod, which means the lair, that's where its eggs are. It talked about its eggs later, as well as in here, I think there's an egg. I think that's the egg. That's cool. I like the hole. Hole good. Hex number 15. Okay, this is a special one because it's actually this, and it's also on here. Look at this. We have a dungeon map. God, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, first of all, the hex. Pirate ship is good. The rats are fine. There's this bit here. I'm not going to draw on it, don't worry. First of all, this should be down here because if this is up here, then the order I want to read the info is from top to bottom. But if the entry were down here, then I want to go from 14 to 15 and read it from bottom to top. And we're talking about the order of info when we're describing physical spaces in RPG adventures. Tiny detail, but it's one that I think matters, which is why I'm bringing it up in a YouTube video. Oh, and yeah, the rats are good, but it's like... Where is it? Infested with mutated mice whose bites cause disease. Okay, so if we were doing this, let's get this out here. Infected mice whose bites cause disease. Everywhere else, when we're talking about creatures, what it would do is say, like, mutant mice, and then say diseased bites in parentheses. Right? They set up a format, and if you set up a format, I'd like you to stick to it. So that's what it should say, and that's that, okay? Tiny details, tiny nitpicks. Don't hate me. So anyway, the galleon's good. The dungeon I'm a little less enthused about. It doesn't describe these guys at all. Who are these guys? It doesn't say anything about them except for, oh, I lied. Steep and slippery rock. Speckled axolotls, mid-level, poisonous tongues, prey on climbers. You see that last seal? Prey on climbers. That's the kind of thing that was missing from some of the other entries. So actually, I lied. These cuties are described. I want one as a pet. I want one as a ship mascot. So, this kind of looks like a McDonald's play space, right? So like, do I go through these tubes? Can I get up to this ladder? Can I get from this ladder into this room? Because I don't see it opening up into here. So do I go through this tube? There's nothing in this room at all. Do you see that? There's nothing there, which is weird. I wish there were. It's empty, I get it, but like, what is it? I have no idea what it is. There's a secret tunnel right here, and it looks kind of like an outhouse. That'd be something. It's like, oh, there's a secret tunnel. It says it right here, yeah, secret passage. And I'm like, I would just make that, you have to go, this is an outhouse, and you just like climb down the toilet. Because I think that'd be funny. I don't know. That seems like it's the tone they're going for here. Here's this part. Watch this. This is the worst part of the whole thing, probably. Oubliette holding shepherds who were attracted by the light. That's nice, because the shepherds are, it's a setting thing, right? They hold one half of the map if the GM wants. I read if the GM wants in parentheses, and I literally said fuck you out loud. Okay? Shut the hell up. Make a decision, or don't say anything at all, okay? the bits that are good. The control panel's good. It's fun. The light is good because this guy goes berserk if you destroy the light. So this is good. That is good. The keeper, you're supposed to like play chess against the GM to let him out, or else you fail to let him out. It's not the kind of thing I like to do at my table. I know Games Omnivorous has done like physical mazes and playing chess and doing some other things at the table. I'm not as much into those kind of goofier table events. The spell book is good. This is good because like electricity is really valuable in the world. Some of the other stuff just feels too much like a dungeon room and not enough like a physical space. Like this is just like there's a bunch of cool items. It kind of grew on me. I kind of like the museum now. I didn't at first, but this one is just like a room with a spell book. And I know that you're working with a really condensed word count, but it felt too much like a dungeon and not enough like a physical space. The blender was fun too. There's a blender that blends you. It says like it's a teleporter, but it blends you. Anyway, that's that. We're gonna talk about the last panel now. Okay, last panel, panel number 3. If there's anything in this whole project that looks like the Roku screensaver, it is this. This is the harborage. It's the last location in the bottled sea before we do our outro summary bit. Thank you for sticking with me through this long. I'm not going to draw on this as much as I forgot that it was not under the plastic wrap. This is a beautiful piece of art. I think it's incredible. I think it is exactly what I feel when I look at the Roku screensaver, right? So I look at these like stained glass. That's really cool. I look at this tower. I'm like, what's that tower? What the heck is this? It's probably drinkable water. It's like a water tower, but it's a funnel, which is cute. And there are excellent small details here that crop up too. Like look at these lights. Look at all these lampposts. Where are they? There's one here. Lamppost, lamppost, lamppost at the edge of all the docks, at the end of the docks, or the boardwalks. I love those details, like the little spikies here. These are not going to be things that the words talk about, but they're going to be things that we can use as inspiration when we look at them at the table. There's a bunch of sheep here. There's some seals here, right? I look at this and I'm filled with inspiration. But this is claiming to be more than a Roku screensaver, right? So, what does it do to do that? It adds words. Let's take a look at those words. What is this? Once again, it's a little bit vague, but it works. It tells you, oh, there's some factions here. They like dirt, paper, and plants. There's a barter economy. Travelers are free to more. They always need more resources and more bodies. Those are nice details. This first part is probably just the vaguest. It's like, oh, it's a makeshift metropolis, buoyant palimpsest of junk, debris, and ages of flotsam. All are vacuumed assembled precariously to form a suspended city of waste. So it's like, oh, there's junk. It's makeshift junk. It's junk. There's junk that's junk. Okay. It's like, okay, I get what you're saying. They emphasize it with repetition, but sometimes I feel like there's room here for a little bit more specificity. But on the other hand, everything else over here is giving specificity. So let's look at those details. Roll an event, it says. Number 2, the great cephalopod shall arrive in 1d6 hours, heralded by a storm. It wreaks havoc. That feels like it should be number 8. I'm conditioned to think that the extremes are especially good or especially bad events, and the great cephalopod feels like a 1 or an 8. I don't know which one it should be, but it should be one of those. Tiny detail. Number 3, roll weather. This is terrible. Just rewrite it as something else because I would already be rolling weather, right? If the weather events are good, which also, let me double check that. Are the weather events good? Do they make sense for the harborage? Weather, there's a lightning storm on the weather. It sucks people up with the weather. Your rations dry out. Yeah, so these feel like traveling weather events. I don't know if they really are what I'd be looking for weather events at the harborage. Number 5 and 6, these both feel like things that are coming from outside the city into the city. A raft of castaways arrive. They bear half of the map to solid ground but need help. These people arrive. They have rare salvage. If I'm rolling an event in the harborage, I'm looking for something that's happening in the harborage that has to do with the buildings here and the factions here. And I get the ichthyes or ichthyes are a faction. I don't know if it's on thin ice. But a lot of the others, I want things like this. The High Rainmaker is missing. Oh my gosh. The High Rainmaker from the Rainmaker's Cistern, number 25. Missing. Incredible. 2d6 sheep are found poisoned. Sheep from the sheep pen. Incredible. And I guess this is supposed to be the ichthyes from the aquaponics tanks. Is this collectors? No, there's not one for collectors. After castaways arrive. So 6, 7, and 8 are supposed to be building it in with the factions. Okay, I changed my mind about 6. 6 is no longer on on thin ice. 6 is good. I think number 5 is the only one I really don't like, and number 2 should be number 8. Okay? Ta-da! The 4 factions. The best part of the 4 factions are right here. The collectors are obsessed with creating an artificial island. The Ichthys dream of greater unity between the sea and the surface. Shepherds wish to herd their flock out of the bottled sea, and the rainmakers are lying to they're controlling the populace. Those details are the best ones. The other ones are just explaining kind of who they are and what they do. These are the important ones. This is what I'm looking for from a faction, and I'm so glad that they're all there. Not only that, but we have 6, 12, 18, 24 things you can do for them. All of these are good, and all of these are good. I love all 6 of both of these. On these ones, the only ones I don't really like are number 2 and number 2. Seize control of the temple. I don't like that for a very specific reason we'll talk about in a second. And number 2 here, salvage working machinery from the sea. Wait a second. I have just realized that actually I do like number 2. So actually all these are nice too. They're all like tied in with the desalinization unit. They're tied in with the things here, stuff they want outside. It gets you out of the city and also back into the city. It's nice. I like all these. This is like exactly what I'm looking for from a city. Hawker's towpaths, also all of these. The foods here, the fish paste cakes, the dried algae chips, the squid and kelp gumbo, salted sashimi, goldbeak soup, and boiled crab claws. You know why I love those so much? Because on the first panel, when it's talking about plants, tomato, goji berry, kumquat, strawberry, all of those are things that people do not usually eat. And we know that because they're not on the foods list. Isn't that cool? I should stop moving this. And also, just everything else here is good. This is my favorite panel by far. Now, once again, we're going into hyper nitpicky mode if we haven't already been in it this whole time. These are each like 2 to 5 words each, right? But each one of them has a different job to do, and it's very important that they do that job. And that they do a different job than what the art is already doing. I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm going to talk about the ones that are bad first, because there are fewer of them. Most of these are really good. The worst ones are 5, the mills. That is so boring. The temple. Fuck you. Give me a good detail. Give me an adjective. Give me anything to work with besides the temple. Most of the other ones here are good, like I said, but then again, 21, the collector's lodge. I get that it's just being descriptive. It's just saying, oh, it's a lodge. I already knew they were a lodge. It's not doing anything new. It's just repeating it. And that's fine, but it's nothing special, you know? Number 27, hydroponic agri-towers. I can tell that by looking here. They are water towers of agriculture, right? That's what it's saying. Water towers of agriculture. I would have liked a different detail here. And 31, crab cages. I know, I looked at the drawing. You see the crab cages? There they are. They're crab cages. Things that are kind of a little better, but not much. The drifting scrap. I know that. This is a drifting scrap pile. I could tell that by looking at the art. There's nothing new here. The Museum of Discarded Curiosity. Discarded. That adjective is not doing much. I don't know actually what's in the museum. The museum looks cool. Right there, look at that. And I would probably just like have things from throughout the time periods be here. Maybe that's what discarded means, is like discarded by the bottled sea, like it popped out of the sky and then they collected them here into the museum. But I don't know. I wasn't sold on this adjective specifically. Every single other one of these was very good. The cephalopod killer is this. That's the cephalopod killer. There's the aquaponic tanks, because that means you're growing like fish things and water, and that's actually the base of the Ichthys. There they are. They're like chilling out in this green, gross, algae-covered water, and it makes me think, oh, they're growing plants there and also bathing there because they're the fish in the thing, right? It's very cool. Aquaponics is different than hydroponics. This is hydroponic. This is aquaponic. The derelict desalinization unit. Very cool. Very cool right here. Derelict is a great adjective. Sea lion milk farm. I just like that because I didn't really get that from the picture, so it's really nice to have that there. Cask of the Medusae is fine. I don't know why it's called a cask. Is it like a bar? Do you eat the Medusae? I don't know. I'm intrigued. Islet of the last coconut tree. You see that adjective? The sheep pen, that's kind of a boring name also, but whatever. The Seaweed Grog Brewery. Great. The Grand Gate. That's a little boring, but it's fine. Compost, sludge pools, salvage storehouses, hawkers, towpaths is just telling you that this is this place, which is good. That's fine. Harbridge Landing, it's what it's called. The Kulch Casino. Now, the Kulch Casino, that has something to do with clams or oysters. I looked it up, so I'd have this be like nice and oyster themed. Ta-da! An oyster themed restaurant. Casino. This is the best one probably. Blood Polo Sharkadrome. Thank you, Games Omnivorous. That is an excellent series of words that I didn't know I needed. Excellent. Seabed Sound Trolley. Yeah, so these are all really good. And once again, this is more than a Roku screensaver. These words are doing the work that they need to be doing. And I love seeing them here. Let's just finish up here because we're already going through them. Marine Mycologist Clinic. Clinic. Look at that. That's a great word there because it's water-based mushrooms that you eat to feel better, like a marijuana clinic, right? Algae Scraper Pond. Cool. Pigeon Post. Yes, very nice. The Rainmaker's Cistern. Ooh, because they keep water there. The Oyster Ranch, which actually there were no oysters in the picture, so it's very important that they said Oyster Ranch. The Crosswatch Tower. I don't know what the Crosswatch Tower is, or sorry, the Crow's Watch Tower. Watch kind of makes me think of like City Watch. So is this tower here the guards? Are there guards in this city? Makes me kind of think of it. This little bit I'm drawing right here, I don't actually know that people are like throwing coins out of it. I don't actually know the function of this. It's called the wishing window. It's like a sagging net full of coins. And one of the factions can tell you to rig the wishing window in their favor. I don't know what that means exactly. So if I rolled that, then I'd want to like figure out what that meant. It's not exactly immediately self-evident. Do they like collect the money? Because it seems like a thing that people know. Like they wish they throw things out the window. So what does it mean in their favor? I don't know what that means, what the wishing window does. So that'd be another thing that I'd have to like figure out during play, just because it's not exactly self-evident from the words, which I would like it to be. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of keep. It looks like it's a cactus wearing a cowboy hat now. The Sea Cucumber Spa, I love that noun, and the Float Inn is just a nice name. I like that. This is all really cute stuff. I really like this. Like I said, I ran it. It was really fun to run. It was really fun to roll the encounters, roll the cephalopod, and have people run away from it. It was really fun to just like make fun stuff up based on the art, based on the words. I do like a lot of the words. I know that I spent a lot of time here nitpicking, but I was trying to have this video come from a place of like genuinely like I think it's really interesting to look at when we think about tabletop role-playing games. A lot of the time we are looking at stuff that has a gimmicky like physical format or something that has a lot of really good art. And this is both of those things, but also that's why I really want to focus on the words, because I feel like very often when we talk about these products, we talk less about we don't really talk critically at all about any of these things. I don't know. I just want to bring attention to the words and the things that I think make them good and the things that I think they could be better at. I think that this was the perfect format for me to talk about it. And Games Omnivorous, I really did have a lot of fun time, like a very fun time running this. It was very satisfying to run. And I imagine other people would have equal amounts of fun with it. There are little places I think the words could be better. But I think that it's easier for me to talk about the words than it is to talk about the art, because it's already so easy to find inspiration in things. But I want to talk critically about the words, because not only am I really invested in there being like a critical language around tabletop role-playing games, just in general, I think that I want to bring more focus to the words, which I think are often the part that people talk about kind of the least. Because, we can see the art on the Kickstarter page, we can see the goodies on the Kickstarter page. We can see them in the unboxings, and it's all very exciting. But I think that can lead consumers and sometimes creators to put less of a focus on their words. And that's actually the part that I, in this literary medium, am some of the most interested in, is those words. And so I hope that I've been able to express what I think makes them good today, which means it's time for the outro. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me as I've been tolling away on a very top secret project that might be 4 hours long that was supposed to come out last year. It was kind of like an autobiography of my year, honestly. It's really weird. It's a weird video. It's a very weird video. It looks like this.
Agentially.
And it will be out this year sometime, and that's all I'm saying. But in the meantime, I want to go back to being able to actually make other videos besides this one that I've been working on for, well, more or less since I released the Dread video, which was at the very end of 2021. God. But yeah, I hope this has been fun. Thank you to my patrons, of course. I already said that. Thank you to you for watching. And catch me in the next video. I hope you like the saran wrap. I'm going to be doing weird-ass videos for as long as I keep having ideas about things to talk about. And as long as there are still Roku screensavers, I will be looking for the words that make them meaningful. Hey! That tied stuff up nicely. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. That's it. But now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. Oh, I forgot I was still filming.